Hey guys, welcome back to another DJ Expresses. Basically another vlog style. This has been a very controversial topic, which is gun control. And this is basically due to the wake in the Orlando shooting. Yes, I know you can see my screen from my glasses. But here's my thing. These 4 pieces of legislation, I felt it should have passed. A couple of them were proposed by Republicans, which I applaud them for. But I'm going to have to find a list of senators that didn't, that voted no for these legislations. But a couple of the ones that I felt should have went through were the universal background checks, which included mental health exams. There's been a lot of massacres that have happened, mostly due to mental illnesses. And it kind of scares me that those people are still able to purchase guns. I mean, you can't stop a mental illness, but for those people who have a mental illness, should not be allowed to buy a gun. Primarily because their way of thinking is much more radical than some other people's. Now, like with one of my neighbors, which I won't tell his name, he used to own a couple of guns, but once he recently tried to commit suicide with a gun, he actually turned those guns in. And that's something that I do applaud him for. He did the right thing and basically gave up his guns so he could live his life a little bit more at ease. It's just situations like that that scare a lot of people. I mean, it's scary. The next piece of legislation, which was proposed by, hold on. Alright, so here is that proposal that was basically for the no-fly people, which was proposed by John Cornyn, Republican of Texas, and this would have allowed government to delay the sales of a terrorist suspect for 72 hours, which then would require the prosecutors to go to court to block the sale. That measure failed from 53 to 47. Go figure. NRA nuts. But things like these, I'm glad that some of the Republicans are actually trying to put forth bipartisan support. But there's a lot of other senators and representatives that voted the bill down. And that disappoints me. Because there is sign of bipartisan support, but NRA corporations get in the way of these processes. And we need to stop large groups and corporations from lobbying in Congress. Because, you know, there's been numerous polls throughout this year and last year, and anywhere between 80 to about 95%, which is a margin for me, have supported the requirement for background checks for all gun purchases. Here's a question for you. Would that infringe on your right to bear arms? I mean, our rights are not fully absolute. Okay, it's like with freedom of speech. That is for regulation, and hate speech is not covered. Discrimination is not covered. It's just, our rights are not fully absolute, and some of them are subject to regulation. It's like with the question, should we ban assault rifles and weapons? You know, I'm kind of mixed about that, but here's my thing. The assault rifles were specifically designed for the military and for trained police officers and for SWAT, which would be one of the groups that are trained to use assault rifles. In my opinion, assault rifles should not be in the hands of civilians. Yes, that's my view on this. But here's my thing. It's something that would be a good idea. Because I know in some... I'm going to go ahead and go with the example with mopeds. There are some states that will allow you to get a moped with an engine under 50cc without a license. All you need to do is register it. That's pretty good if you want a source of transportation without having to go through the hassle of getting a driver's license or a motorcycle license. We need to apply that idea with guns. If you want an assault rifle, you have to go through the classes, the special training, then get your license for that specific assault rifle. I'll probably do a little bit of a video about the AR-15, but many people say that's a semi-automatic, but the AR-15 is extremely versatile. Thus, you can probably convert it to the point of turning into a full automatic. But for any kind of semi to full automatic rifles, I feel will be due to subject to regulation. And what I mean by regulation is the requirement for a background check, mental health check, classes, training, then the license. That's what I feel should go. And it's kind of sad when people can get a gun just under 15 minutes. That's not good. I mean, there are federal requirements for gun shops that are federally licensed. But it's the private gun owners and gun shops is where the background checks are not required. Now, if we had background checks required for all gun transactions, that would help reduce the amount of gun violence. This is not infringing upon anyone's rights. And that's how I feel about it. So basically, a recap on what I should say could work. Require a special license for semi and full automatic weapons, like the AR-15 for example. In order to get said license, you need to go through the background check, the mental health check, the classes, and the training. Then you get your license. If you don't pass any of those, no license. No assault rifle that are semi or fully automatic. Background checks for all gun transactions. I mean, I would like to say a license for concealed weapons would be a plus, but it's a toss-up on that. Mixed feeling, so I'm not going to go much into feeling about that. But it's just, like I said, for assault weapons, background check, mental health screening, classes, training, then get your license if you pass all 4 of those. That, I feel, would be a smart idea. But anyway, this has been another episode of DJ Expresses Gun Control. Have a good night.